Kate's in the kitchen, and you're invited too. Happy fall and happy Oktoberfest. With the coming of autumn weather, I kind of got in the mood to do the Oktoberfest thing, so I'm making a German-inspired meatloaf, and to go with it, I'm making some braised cabbage. Now, it's just for my husband and I, so I took a half of a pretty large head of cabbage and just kind of sliced it up thin. I don't want it shredded. It'll be too mushy. So it looks like quite a lot, but it does cook down. A lot of the water will cook out. Now, I don't always add a carrot. Sometimes I do. My grandson likes it when I put bell pepper in here, orange or yellow. And instead of shredding this on a box grater, I'm just going to do it with my carrot peeler, because you never have to worry about hitting your knuckles. So I'm just going to go ahead and shred this in here, and then we'll continue on. That was a pretty large carrot, so I only shredded up about a third of it. Another thing I like about doing it with your peeler is they will end up long strips like your cabbage. So off to the stove. I've got my pan heating up on the stove. I'm going to start with a couple of tablespoons of butter. And I'm going to add some olive oil as well. So about equal amounts. And then I'm going to first start with about a half a cup of diced onion. Now, if you don't like the onion, you can leave it out. You could put garlic in this. You can adapt this kind of to your flavor preferences. I just cooked those onions till they got a little soft, because they do take a little bit longer to cook than the cabbage. I'm just going to go ahead and add the cabbage and the carrots. And I've got my biggest skillet to start with, just because I didn't want it to overflow, but this will cook down. Right now I'm just kind of coating everything with the butter and olive oil. Right now, this is just sauteed cabbage. I did say it was going to be braised. You could use water. I use unsalted chicken stock. Don't fill the pan up. You just want maybe a third of the way up your cabbage. I'm going to add some salt and pepper. Cabbage takes a lot of salt and pepper, just like potatoes or tomatoes. And I especially like a lot of pepper in mine. My husband not so much, so I guess I'll be a little moderate today. And then one last secret ingredient. Chicken soup base. And you just want about a teaspoon. And I'm just going to get that mixed in there. Get all of it off the spoon. You don't have to add this, but boy, this is packed with flavor. And now I'm going to put a lid on it, and I'm going to cook it for about 10 minutes or so. Depends on how crispy you like your cabbage, and then I'll check it. To go with my cabbage and meatloaf, I'm going to make some potatoes. Normally with meatloaf, I either make mashed potatoes or parsley and garlic butter potatoes. But to keep with the Oktoberfest German flavors, I'm going to use some thyme and chives, as well as garlic in my butter. About 1.5 pounds of baby red potatoes in some cold water. The larger ones I did cut up, and I cut off any bad bits. I'm going to bring these to a boil, add some salt, and cook them until they're tender. I'm not going to peel these because the skins are very thin, and these will be delicious. I have a half a stick of regular butter here. I'm going to go ahead and melt that, and then I'm going to add the flavorings. You can hear the butter sizzling. I'm going to turn this down. I'm not making brown butter. I'm going to put the garlic in. I just got a couple of cloves of finely minced garlic, about a half teaspoon of fresh thyme, and about a tablespoon or so of fresh chives. And now that the butter's melted, I'm actually just going to turn that off, and everything's just going to steep. And then I will heat it up before I pour it onto the potatoes. And speaking of the potatoes, mine are boiling. Make sure that you put salt in there. Potatoes take a lot of salt, and putting it on afterward is not the same as putting it in the water and let that salt flavor cook into the potatoes.